honestly, it's hard to fool people with this ability. You know, I mean, no one's gonna shoot at a player that's running into the wall because it's obviously just gonna be a decoy, you know?
A few moments later.
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck?
Hello, so how y'all doing? Before we get into the video, I do have a few things I want to talk about. Thing number one is I understand that a lot of the videos I'm kind of starting off like talking about stuff, but I just seem to have a lot of stuff to talk about, so I'm trying not to, you know, have too much fluff right before the video. Needless to say, there are things I have to talk about. It's probably just going to be like that for most videos, but you know, I'm going to try my best to make it as quick as possible. One major thing I want to talk about is, sadly, I'm not going to be able to record any Apex videos for a little while. I actually had some Apex videos in the works, and I was super excited to get to them, especially with the cross progression. I finally got it, but with one good thing always comes a bad thing. For some reason, my graphics driver just doesn't want to cooperate. I've done everything I can, and I think I've just messed it up so bad because now it's crashing all the time. And luckily, I was able to get through a lot of these recordings without it crashing at all. Some days it just doesn't crash at all, which is great, but it is crashing way too much. And when I load up Apex side, it just doesn't work. Or I load in and the graphics are all chotchified. I don't even know what I'm looking at. So basically, I'm just gonna buy a whole new graphics card. I mean, they're expensive. I've always wanted to get a new graphics card anyway, because I'm not really running at the highest frame rate, you know, max settings anyway. This is just like my excuse to finally get that, you know, new graphics card I always wanted. It's not gonna be some ultra top of the line, you know, I ain't rich like that, but I'm gonna get something nice, you know. And I did order a nice microphone, so hopefully the audio quality will be so much better within decent times. Probably around New Year's is when I'll get the, you know, be able to start using that new microphone. So basically all my videos from here to probably close to the end of this year are all going to be Titanfall. I can't play Apex, so I mean, I can play Apex, but only on my PlayStation. So yeah, sorry to delay the Apex videos, but enjoy the Titanfall videos while they're here. Alright, let's get right into the video. Also, please vote on my community poll. What's your favorite soda? If you say Canada Dry, there's something wrong with you. The first and most important part of understanding how to effectively play your Titan is to figure out at what range are they best suited to play at. For Monarch, I'm going to say this is a close to mid-range. I say this because she only has one dash, base level, unless you use the specific Titan kit that gives you an extra dash, and we'll get into that in a second. But the main determining factor, I believe, to say that Monarch is a close to mid-range type of Titan is because of her weapon, the XO16. I believe this weapon is really good in close to mid-range because of its assault rifle type nature. It has a decently fast fire rate, just a little bit slower than the Legion's Predator cannon, but it also has a very wide bullet spread, making it mostly ineffective at long range. You can still hit some enemies in long range, but she really excels in that close to mid-range. The closer you can get, typically the better, but you still don't want an enemy too close to you as Monarch. Again, because you only have one dash, it's very hard to get away from your enemies and escape if you need to. So you definitely want to keep them at this optimal mid to close range. Now Monarch, like Ion and Tone, has 4 health bars, meaning she has more health than a North Star and a Ronin, but overall less health than a Legion and a Scorch. So overall, there's a little bit of room to make some mistakes here and there, but not as much as if you were a Legion especially. And speaking of mistakes, it would be a total mistake to run auto eject on a Monarch, especially because she has her energy siphon, where she could take health from another Titan, giving her extra health on top of her doomed state, so that way she cannot be doomed or executed with just one hit. I also don't recommend running the assault chip kit. I don't recommend running the assault chip kit for any of the Titans really, just because, you know, why would you have your Titan fall and then have the like AI do the Titan? Like, just pilot your own Titan. You're gonna do better than AI ever will. So, you know, just I don't recommend. I don't think anyone would ever recommend running the assault chip on any Titan, honestly, but I mean, if you want to do that, hey, you know, you do you, buddy. Turbo engine, I think, is a reasonable pick. I understand, especially if you're very used to playing Ronin or North Star, you're used to those 2 dashes, and you can't do anything slower than that. I do understand picking turbo engine, and I think I even had turbo engine on Monarch for a little while, but I do think there is a better kit, and I think it's the Overcore, because Monarch's kit is so reliant on those cores. You want to just get the core as quickly as possible, and Overcore is going to give you that head start that you need to get that first core, second core, and then the third core eventually, which will help you survive longer. And the longer you survive, The stronger you are, the harder your takedown, the more likely you're gonna win whatever match you're in. Nuclear eject, I don't recommend. Again, you only have one dash, and if you're doomed, I really honestly think you're more likely to just get executed before you can hit that nuke eject. Again, I mean, it's not the biggest crime if you pick nuke eject, but you're really not doing yourself any favors. Either pick turbo engine, or again, I really recommend overcore. And the counter ready kit, which is extra smokes, I don't think you need as a Monarch, because you get an extra smoke for each time you go through the core upgrade. So I feel like you're just it's not really necessary, especially for a Monarch. I don't recommend that. Okay, so moving on to the Monarch specific kit. The shield amplifier kit I think is somewhat viable. It increases the energy siphon by 25%, which is a considerable amount. I think it's maybe the second best option to choose from out of the specific kits that you can use with Monarch. I feel like this kit's really useful if you're taking a lot of damage, if maybe you're not really good at peeking corners, but I think personally it'd be a better idea just to like get better. I mean, I don't know, man. Get better, that's all I can say. No, but on a serious note though, I do recommend that maybe instead of running this kit, just try to evolve your expertise in being able to peek corners, be able to go behind cover when you're reloading, and really negate the amount of damage that you're going to soak up as a Titan, as any Titan really, but as Monarch especially, because you don't have any defensive capabilities. You have to use walls and as much cover as you can to prevent yourself from soaking up all the damage that's being shot at you. Now the next one, the Energy Thief, I do recommend running. I personally run it, and I think a lot of Monarch mains run this kit. What Energy Thief does is, when you execute another Titan, you get 10% of your core meter back, and you steal one of their batteries. I don't think I really need to explain why that's extremely useful, and I do understand that it can sound kind of like a niche ability, but it's really not that hard to come across another Titan that's in a doomed state, or at least so very low that you know you'll be able to get them down to doomed state to execute. And in most cases, if you're playing really smart, you can pretty much gain all the health back that you lost, if not more. Plus, you can earn more towards your core meter and get that core really fast, which is extremely important as a Monarch. The next kit is the Rapid Rearm, which I think, you know, if you use it, I don't think it's like a crime or anything. Again, I still think Energy Thief is the superior option. But what Rapid Rearm does is it basically just reduces the cooldown on your rearm ability, which basically will just give you more abilities, more times you can shoot your rockets, more times you can shoot that energy siphon. Again, to be honest, I don't really think this kit is super important, because those abilities are on a short cooldown already. At least if you ask me, I feel like they're on a very short cooldown, and I really think it doesn't really take much heavy practice. It's not really difficult. Basically, as long as you're not overusing those abilities and playing smart, then you shouldn't really need this kit, in my opinion, but I could totally see why you would run it. But personally, I don't recommend it more than the Shield Amplifier and the Energy Thief. Now the last kit here is the Survival of the Fittest, which basically, if you get a battery, it will pretty much put your Titan out of a doomed state. Again, this can be useful, but I actually don't recommend this one, especially compared to the other ones, because first of all, you have to leave your Titan to get a battery. I mean, it could work if you're running the boost on the pilot that gives you the free battery, but let's be honest, if you're playing something like Titan Brawl, then you're not going to have that option. And still, even exiting your Titan just for a split second is really risky, just to bring it out of a doomed state. You can still make plays during a doomed state. I feel like you're just adding more risk than reward if you're leaving your Titan just to get a battery, just to take it out of a doomed state. Just use your energy siphon to get some temporary extra shields there. I mean, I just personally don't recommend running this kit. Again, it's not going to hurt you if you're strategic and you can get behind cover and get a battery real quick, but honestly, I think the risk far outweighs the reward in this case scenario. Okay, so moving on to Ion's core ability, which is probably the most unique core in this entire game. Her core works in 3 upgrade stages, and each stage you can select a unique upgrade to take action when you use the core. So for the first core upgrade, you have 3 choices of upgrade: the arc rounds, missile racks, and the energy transfer. So I personally recommend using the arc rounds. Basically what the arc rounds would do is basically just give her primary weapon, the XO16, more damage. It's just a better primary gun, and I personally think it's the best. But I can also understand if you would go for something like the missile racks. What the missile racks do is they give you twice the amount of missiles that you would regularly have. This is definitely useful, and I can definitely see why somebody would run it. Again, I just think that the weapon you're using the most is your primary gun. And I think the better the primary gun, the better the Titan in most cases, especially when it comes to ranged fights. If you're at a mid-ranged fight, the missile racks aren't a very good option because those missiles are very sporadic with how they fire, and you're probably not going to hit your enemy at a mid-range. You really want to use those missiles while you're at a close range, and most of the time as a Monarch, it's very difficult for you to get super up close and personal with other Titans, and some Titans you don't want to get up close and personal with. So I think in most cases, the arc rounds would be a better choice in this scenario. Now, the energy transfer I don't personally recommend. I really haven't heard of anyone running this kit, to be honest with you. What it does is it basically gives free health to other friendly Titans. Again, on paper, I don't think this is a bad ability. However, it doesn't do anything for you. And I hate to sound selfish, but I think in this case, the better you are as a Titan, the better the rest of your team will do. Especially in a mode like Titan Brawl, what you want to focus on is basically just surviving. You want to be the best Monarch possible, because if you're the best Monarch possible, if you can get to that third upgrade, you will be the best Titan on the field, and you want to get to that as fast as possible. It's better for your team than giving your teammates extra health, in my opinion. Okay, so the options for the second core upgrade are rearm and reload, maelstrom, and energy field. The rearm and reload basically just gives a reduced timer on the rearm ability, which we've talked about before. It's the ability that allows you to take your two other abilities off of the cooldown temporarily, but this upgrade also allows you to have a faster reload with your primary weapon. I could see people running this. I think it's very viable if you're really going for like an aggressive aggro type playstyle, as a shorter reload is always good, and that rearm will just help you spam your abilities more often, which is not a bad thing, which is kind of what you want as a Monarch, as any Titan really. The next upgrade, or the other upgrade that you could choose from, is called Maelstrom. It is basically just a better electric smoke field. It just does more damage. I don't really have much to say about that. If that sounds like a good plan to you, you can do that. I could definitely see that being very beneficial in many scenarios. Personally, I run either rearm and rearm and reload or the Maelstrom, but I definitely typically don't run the next possible upgrade, which is the energy field. What this does is if you hit your energy field within a similar area of any other Titans, you'll still take the energy. You don't have to hit the Titans straight on. You have to be in the ballpark, but you don't have to hit them directly, and this also would take a little bit of damage from any other Titans within the area, so you can take energy from more than one Titan, I believe. I don't think this is a bad upgrade. In fact, I can totally see why someone would run it. I don't personally run it because I think the energy siphon ability is really easy to hit somebody with. Again, it's literally just an ion laser shot, just a different color really. And I'm pretty sure that the extra energy you would get from any other Titan is minuscule at best. I haven't really noticed. I haven't taken like any notes on how much energy it takes from other Titans, so personally I don't see a huge benefit over rearm and reload personally, but if you run this kit, I think that's completely viable. So core 3, her last core upgrade, there are only 3 possible upgrade options, being multi-target missiles, superior chassis, and the Exo-16 accelerator. 2 of these options are viable. I think there is one clear best option, but there's one option I do not recommend, and that is the multi-target missiles. What these do is they basically lock onto any target, and they'll lock onto multiple targets. If you played the single player with BT, this is basically the abilities that BT had. I mean, unless you chose another Titan, but this is the abilities that a base BT had. But this is again multiplayer. This is much faster paced. I think this is a bad ability because it just takes too long to lock on, and also you're dividing your rockets among multiple Titans. I could be wrong, but I think that means it kind of does less damage overall to a specific Titan. I just don't recommend running this, especially if you have any other upgrades, especially if you have something like the missile racks as a first core. This is kind of useless to that. So it's okay, and I don't think this is a bad option. It's not going to hurt you, but it's definitely not better than the other 2, which is the superior chassis and the Exo-16 accelerator. Speaking of the Exo-16 accelerator, I think this is a very good option if you didn't do the arc rounds for core 1. If you did the arc rounds for core 1, you basically would have a super gun at this point, but I do think there's a better option if you did that. If you didn't do the arc rounds, this might be a good idea, just to do a little bit more damage. But again, if you picked arc rounds, This might just be a little over the top with the guns. You can choose another upgrade, which is a superior chassis, which I think would do you a much bigger favor, especially when it comes to survival. So superior chassis, what superior chassis does is it basically gives you more health and a larger health pool in general. It'll bring you up to, I think, as many bars as a Legion or a Scorch has, which is extremely useful. Think about this for a second. You're at core 3, you've been at this for a long time, you've survived for a pretty decently long time at this point in the match. You're probably low health. That extra health can mean everything for the game. You have extra health plus the other cores, then you are unstoppable. You have so much health. You have the best gun in the game. You have the fastest reload abilities in the game. It's crazy. You are insane. You are a beast. You are almost unkillable. You're a tank. You have the health of a Scorch and a Legion with the power of like an Ion. So yeah. Overall, I think Monarch has a pretty solid kit. I don't think there's really any wrong options when choosing certain upgrades or certain kits to run. There are kits that are like better than others, but overall, no matter what you're running, as long as you can get to core upgrade 2 or 3, you're gonna probably be one of the strongest, if not the strongest Titan on the map. So yeah, that's basically all I have to say. I will be scheduling a community poll to go up right around the time that this video would be ending, asking what Titan should I do a guide for next. So if you don't mind, if you can go vote on that poll, that would be awesome. Also, if there's anything I could have added or done better in this video, please do let me know so that I can improve my videos and add it for the next video I do. So any sort of advice or tips to improve the videos would be greatly appreciated. Thank you all for watching. See ya.